Hey everyone, and welcome. We all see these incredible buildings around us every day, but we probably don't think of them as, well, manufactured products. But today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the construction world and shine a light on the unsung heroes who are turning it into a kind of next generation manufacturing. Okay, so let me ask you something. Think about a building that just blows you away. A crazy skyscraper, a beautiful museum, whatever it is. When you think about who made it, whose name pops into your head first? Who gets all the credit? Yeah, for almost all of us, the answer is instant. The architect, right? We see them as these master visionaries, these artists who dream up these amazing places. And look, their vision is absolutely essential, but it's only half the story. This quote from our source material just hits the nail on the head. We talk all about the architect, but the engineers, the people who actually make the design possible, they're almost never even mentioned. They're basically invisible. And that leads us to the big question for today. If the architect is the dreamer, who is this indispensable, invisible partner that makes sure the dream can actually stand up, that it works, and that it lasts? Well, the answer is the technical engineer. All right, so let's dig into that. What exactly is technical engineering? What does this invisible partner actually do? Turns out it covers a ton of ground. In a nutshell, technical engineering is everything that makes a building, well, work. It's not just making sure the walls don't fall down. It's the heating and cooling, the energy systems, the fire safety, even the environmental impact. And this work starts from the absolute very beginning, from the first sketch. And the thing is, an engineer's job is just huge. You can really break it down into these 5 core missions. They're advising the client, designing all the complex guts of the building, they're on-site making sure it gets built right, they're juggling quality, cost, and deadlines, and they're even there at the end to help hand over the keys. They're involved in the whole shebang. Now, I want you to just lock this number into your brain. Just the number 10. It seems simple, but it represents this incredible weight of responsibility that sits on every single engineer's shoulders. So, that number 10, that's 10 years. In France, there's a law that means engineers are legally on the hook for a building's integrity for a full decade after it's done. This isn't just a professional promise. They are legally bound to make sure the structure, the foundation, and all the essential equipment works perfectly. I mean, talk about serious accountability. So let's follow them through the entire life of a project. You can think of it as the engineer's gauntlet, this series of crucial stages they have to navigate to get to the finish line. You can see their journey laid out right here. It all starts at the sketch phase, where they're figuring out if an idea is even possible. Then they move into design, first the big principles, then detailing every last system. After that, they're helping pick the builders, they're supervising the actual construction, and finally, they're managing the handover. Their input is critical at every single step. This really helps us see the 2 roles side by side. The architect and engineer aren't rivals, they're partners. 2 sides of the same coin, really. While the architect is thinking about space, beauty, and how it feels to be there, the engineer is totally focused on performance. They're figuring out the structure, the systems, the materials, and all the safety stuff that brings that vision to life. Okay, this is where things get really cool. How in the world do modern engineers handle all this complexity? Well, they've gone way beyond blueprints and calculators. Welcome to the next-gen digital toolkit. Back in the day, you'd run into huge problems right on the construction site. A pipe would literally be designed to go through a steel beam. And finding that out mid-build, that meant expensive delays, quick fixes, and just massive headaches for everyone. It was totally reactive. But now, the whole game has changed. The modern engineering philosophy is to build the entire thing digitally first. You solve all the problems in a virtual world, so they just never even happen in the real one. And they've got some serious digital superpowers to make it happen. We're talking advanced climate simulations, like they used for the Peking Opera, to map out airflow and guarantee perfect comfort. They use 3D modeling to digitally weave together this complex web of plumbing, electrical, and HVAC systems, so nothing ever clashes. And it's all built on super precise computer-aided design. And look, this quote from the source says it all, right? By using these 3D digital tools, they solve the vast majority of problems before anyone even breaks ground. That's a revolutionary shift from fixing mistakes to preventing them in the first place. And that right there,
That's the heart of what we mean by next-gen manufacturing in this space. It's treating a building less like a one-off project and more like a complex, high-tech product. It's designed and simulated with digital precision, just like a fighter jet. The construction site just becomes the final assembly line for a design that's already been perfected.
So, where does all this leave us? What's next? Well, as the world's challenges get more complex, the engineer's role is getting even bigger.
See, the engineer's job today, it's just so much bigger than the technical stuff. They have a deep ethical duty to keep people safe. They have a moral responsibility to the communities their buildings serve. And crucially, they have an environmental responsibility to create sustainable buildings that can stand up to future challenges.
So I'll leave you with this. The next time you're looking at an amazing building, yeah, give a nod to the architect's vision, for sure. But also, take a second to think about that invisible partner. Because as we face down huge challenges like climate change, it's going to be them, these unsung heroes, who are quietly designing and building a safer, more sustainable world for all of us.